All right, let's see what we got going on here. Let's see if it works this time. Hey, there we go. The chat's working. There we go. All right, good. Chat tift is working. Mark Martin fan for life. Appreciate that. Can we just have Darlington as a championship race, please? Said Moulton. Yeah, for sure. So I don't know if you guys saw that. Xfinity chat is working. Mosh pit is open. I like it, John Mick. What's up, Epileptic Bumblebee? Yeah, for sure. So I don't know if you saw that Xfinity race this Saturday, but that was definitely an awesome race. Sheldon Creed left it all out there. He had probably the third or fourth fastest car, but he was trying to win the race with that car. Absolutely insane finish. He tried to ride the wall to get the win. That dude, he did everything he could do to get that win, and he almost pulled it off. But it went to Noah Gregson, and Noah Gregson, interesting interview. That's why interviews should be done in victory lane, not on the racetrack, because he had inhaled all that smoke from the burnout, and he was a little lightheaded. So good finish, good result. Bummer for Sheldon Creed, but he gave it all he had. Nothing to hang his head about for sure. Let's see. I've looked up the numbers. Some of you guys were asking me about my cough drops, the old Fisherman's Friends. So just in case you're wondering what they look like, that is the old Fisherman's Friends cough drops. If you're looking for them at CVS or wherever, Walgreens, wherever you get your cough drops at, they are the bomb.com. They really help out a whole lot. So we're going to go over sort of who's going to win Darlington. I actually had a poll up, but it wasn't working. So we'll go with, I'm going to read out the statistics as to why I'm picking these guys. The poll question. And other. Well, it lets me do 4, but I'd like to put, I wish it would let me do 5. I wish it would let me put Truex in there, because he would be the other pick I would put in there. But there you go. There is the poll. Let's see. Reminded me of Bush Craven. Said Mark Martin fan for life. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that finish was awesome for sure, Bumblebee. Darlington doesn't disappoint, LP. That's for sure. Last night sold me on Darlington as an S tier track and should be perfect for the championship race, said Moulton. Yeah, it definitely should be, at least in consideration. I think they should rotate the championship race too. Like if you rotated the championship race, people couldn't just test for one race at the end of the year. I kind of like that idea. Back in the Darlington was the only NASCAR track you could do a rookie test. Yeah, it's a tough track for sure. It's a very different, and they're actually shifting at it this year, which is very interesting. There's some shifting going on at a track that big, but Darlington is its own beast. So definitely understand why they would do that. But let's get into the preview real quick. So question is up. Darlington average finish with a 3.4, then Joey Logano with a 9.0, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon, shocker right there. Always sneaks up with a top 10. His average finish there is 11.1. Martin Truex average finish 11.7. Tyler Reddick 12.5. Eric Jones, Harrison Burton, Brad Keselowski, Kurt Busch, Todd Gilliland, Kyle Busch, and Eric Rolla. Those are your best average finishes since 2019. All right, let's go to wins. Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick are tied at 2 apiece. Eric Jones has a win. Martin Truex has a win. And Joey Logano has a win. Those are your previous winners since 2019. Starting to develop a pattern there. And top 5s, it's going to be Kevin Harvick with 6, Denny Hamlin with 4, Kyle Larson with 3, Kyle Busch with 3, Eric Jones with 3, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Martin Truex all with 2. Then a bunch of guys with 1 top 5, including Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick. Top 10s, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, Austin Dillon, Martin Truex, Joey Logano, Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, Todd Gilliland, and Harrison Burton, all up there with your top 10s. Those last two have 0 top 10s, by the way. They just, I don't know, for whatever reason, they listed them on here with 0 top 10s. And let's see, laps led. This is one I like to look at because if you can get up there and lead laps, you're typically a fast car. You've got the place figured out. So Martin Truex, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson, and Denny Hamlin. All of those guys have previous wins, and all of those guys have most laps led. Another one that jumps out here, and it's going to jump out when we get to the betting lines here. Chase Elliott has led 151 laps there. So he's going to kind of jump out there. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Eric Jones, all with over 100 laps led. But those first 4 are what I'd like to look at. Martin Truex, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson, and Denny Hamlin. I feel like your winner is going to come from there. Now, I think some outside chances for the win are going to be a guy like Tyler Reddick. Another wild card would be Austin Cindric, and definitely Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott has to be another guy on here that you think about because he's been really close to winning this race. He has been really fast here. He's had some bad luck. Obviously, him and Martin Truex got tangled up one race. The Chase Elliott had a really good car. I think Kevin Harvick won that race, and Austin Dillon was pretty close behind him. So I think those guys are pretty good. But let's look at what DraftKings is saying. And DraftKings has got Joey Logano as your top pick. He's really good here. Obviously, we just went over the stats. Kyle Larson, also a top pick. Joey Logano is plus 600. Kyle Larson is plus 700. Tyler Reddick is plus 750. So they're on the Tyler Reddick deal too. Kyle Busch at plus 750. I don't know about that one. Denny Hamlin plus 900. That's not a bad pick right there. Seabell and William Byron are at plus 1,000. Truex plus 1,500. Not a bad pick there. Chase Elliott at plus 1,600. That's about the lowest I've seen Chase Elliott all year. So that's probably going to be your biggest value that I've seen him with this year at plus 1,600. Bubba Wallace plus 1,600. Austin Cindric plus 1,600. He's such a wild card, but you know he's in a fast car because those Penske's are fast. Ryan Blaney also at plus 1,600. Kevin Harvick at plus 2,500. This one, in my opinion, is the one. If I was going to put, a couple bucks on something for entertainment purposes only, it would be Kevin Harvick at plus 2,500, plus 700 for a top 3, and plus 300 for a top 5. I'd be all over Kevin Harvick right there. And then you've got Michael McDowell, who qualified in the top 10 at plus 6,000, yeah, and plus 1,500 for a top 3, plus 750 for a top 10. Not a bad pick. Austin Dillon has had some good runs here. He's at plus 8,000 for the win, plus 2,000 for a top 3, and plus 1,000 for a top 10. So some interesting stuff going on there. But those are my picks for that. Austin Dillon, not a bad pick. Kevin Harvick, definitely a good pick. And I like, who was the other one? Chase Elliott's getting pretty good odds too, and so are Martin Truex. But those are just my odds for that. So let's get down to it. Who do I think is going to win Darlington? I think if you go strictly by the numbers, and we've done this before, right? This is another race that lines up where Kevin Harvick has the absolute best numbers here at Darlington. Far and away, Kevin Harvick has the best numbers. So if you're going by the numbers, you've got to pick Kevin Harvick. I know he only qualified like in the top 12 or something like that, or top 15 or something like that. I don't really think this is a track where qualifying matters all that much. I think you look at average lap speeds more than you would look at qualifying or hot lap or something like that. But I think for sure Kevin Harvick has to be your pick by the numbers. Now, if you're just going by the eye test, practice speeds, what you saw in practice, what you saw in qualifying, I think the three fastest cars I saw out there doing that are going to be Tyler Reddick, Joey Logano, and Kyle Larson. I liked what all three of those guys were doing in practice. I liked where they qualified. So those will be my 4 picks. Now, Martin Truex always has to be in the mix at this track. Denny Hamlin always has to be in the mix in this track. And Joey Logano always has to be in the mix at this track as well. They're just really good here. Even though I mentioned Joey Logano as being one of your favorites. So those are my picks. Now, obviously, I'm picking Kyle Larson because I think this is just a Kyle Larson type of track. With that being said, I like the speed that Ford is showing here. So I think either Joey Logano or Kevin Harvick are going to get this win. So that would be my pick if I'm not picking Kyle Larson, but obviously I'm picking Kyle Larson. And also don't count out Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, and Martin Truex. Those guys are all really good here. But if I had to put my finger on it, me personally, I would go with Kyle Larson. Had to put my finger on it, I would pick not picking Kyle Larson. I would pick either Joey Logano or Kevin Harvick. I think that's going to be your winner. And as far as betting goes, if you're betting on a manufacturer, Chevrolet has been getting the worst odds all year, so this will be a good time to bet and see if a Ford can pull off a win here. All right, so that being said, let's jump into the comments. Go ahead and vote on that poll too. I'm going to close that out here in just a few minutes. I'm going to see who you guys voted is going to win this race. All right, the rain delay, Darlington had that Daytona should have followed that same radar. I said JD Mayo, yeah, for sure. What are your thoughts on the 23-45 swap for Bubba and Ty? Said Bumblebee. Here's the deal. The reason they did that, Bubba Wallace is their most experienced driver. He's got the most repetitions in a Cup car. He's the guy that brings in the most sponsor money as far as that goes. And all they're doing is really, he's still driving the 23 car. They're just slapping a 45 on it. What they're doing and why they're doing it, he's their veteran driver. He's got the most laps in the Cup Series. And your year-end bonuses as far as points go are given out by owner points. They're not given out by driver points. Driver points don't earn you any bonus money at the end of the season. So this is pretty much about money. They're betting that Bubba will get better finishes throughout the rest of the year than whoever they put in the 23 car, formerly the 45. So they're just trying to maximize their bonus money at the end of the year by putting their remaining veteran in that car number. And so that's pretty much what that's all about. It's a financial deal. They're going with a veteran instead of going with basically a rookie in Ty Gibbs or whoever they put in the car going forward. I know it's Ty Gibbs this week, but, however NASCAR is going to judge that rookie deal, maybe 2 or 3 races this season, it might be somebody else. But I think they're just going with a veteran, a guy that's been working with his crew chief, Booty Barker, all year long, as opposed to a guy who's just jumping in and getting into the Cup Series. I think that's their thinking behind it. And, of course, they're doing it because they're trying to maximize their money at the end of the season. So that's what that is all about, in my opinion. Howdy from the Great White North. What's up, Robin Marks? What's up, Canada? Harvick for the win. Yeah, that's a good pick for sure. Did you see the speed McDowell was showing in qualifying? Said, yeah, Michael McDowell, ever since he's gotten Blake Harris as a crew chief, nothing against any of his previous crew chiefs, him and Blake Harris have just clicked, and they have really gotten on with it. That car is just vastly improved, and hopefully Front Row can keep him and keep the sponsors with him because I think they got something special going on there. So hopefully Michael McDowell can, as far as you want to go upsets like that, Martin Truex outside of the playoffs could be the upset guy. Michael McDowell outside of the playoffs could be another upset guy. So just any way you want to look at it there, that could definitely be one of your upsets outside of the top 10. Eric Jones, don't sleep on him. Eric Jones has a win here. Petty GMS has showed vastly improved equipment over Richard Petty Motorsports when it was just Richard Petty Motorsports. So don't sleep on any of those three either as far as guys outside of the playoffs that could get a win here. Eric Almirola, too. Eric Almirola shows up every once in a while and just puts it on them. I'm taking the 4, the 9, the 19, the 22, and the 22 for my 5 underdog pick. Michael McDowell, says Bumblebee. I like it. I like that McDowell pick, and I like all of your picks right there. I think they're all very solid. Kelly Combs, good morning. I hope Martin Truex Jr. wins just to make up after last week. LOL. So, yeah, for sure. It would be really cool to see Martin Truex go on a run here and put up some wins. That will be good for the Martin Truex fans for sure. I am now a Harvick fan. Love his big mouth. Sorry, Elliot fans, but I love Bill back in the day, says Robin Marks. Yeah, Harvick basically was the first guy to speak out about the safety of this car when it was in development, and he came out this week and has spoken out about it. And, of course, last week he said during the rain delay, NASCAR just makes it up as they go. So he gained a lot of fans there. 8th Fest blog, hello, what's going on? Molten Rage, track position is important at this track. So, yeah, qualifying does matter. Well, yeah, for track position, I'm talking about as far as your actual speed. Throughout the day, it's going to be basically who can manage their tires. So raw speed doesn't matter as much here. It's more in the driver's hands, is what I was getting at there. But it definitely is a track position race. There's no doubt about that. Kelly Combs says, Bubba, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Sonny V, it'd be hilarious if Ty gets a better finish. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think they're going with their veteran just because he's had the entire season with his crew chief. You're going to have better chemistry. They're just going with something that they've had all season as opposed to a guy that they're just now bringing up. I understand it from the veteran perspective. And once again, it's just they're trying to maximize their bonus money at the end of the year. More a financial thing than anything else, in my opinion. And they just decided to go with a veteran for that bonus money. How come AJ doesn't have a full-time cup ride? Maverick said, I would have to say that's probably due to sponsorship. He probably can't get a full-time sponsor because I know Colleague would love to put him full-time in the Cup Series. I know he would love to be full-time in the Cup Series, but that being said, he's making full advantage of his opportunity for Colleague in the Xfinity Series. I think he's currently leading the points, if I'm not mistaken. So he's making the most of his situation. And Bumblebee said, because AJ is happy where he's at. Oh, no doubt about it. He's super happy where he's at. I think he's just happy to be driving a race car. But I think if he got a full-time ride, he definitely would take that full-time Cup ride. Tina Cothran, AJ is an Xfinity full-time by his choice. Well, I mean, maybe it is his choice. I'm not super familiar with that situation. Team Penske fan said, hi, Team Penske fan, you got some fast cars today. Might be Penske's weekend. Like I said, Austin Cindric is also a wild card. We don't know what he's got necessarily for Darlington. Let's go, Larson, on my way to Darlington. All right, Tina Cothran going to Darlington, pulling for Kyle Larson. Might be a good day for her too. So I need help with my fantasy team. I don't know who to put in right now. I have Logano, Larson, Hamlin, Chastain, Elliot, Kyle Busch at the garage. Can you help me make a better lineup? Well, I like Logano. I like Larson. I like Hamlin. I would stay away from Chastain. Chase Elliott is going to be hit or miss. As far as odds go for betting, I would take Chase Elliott. But those first three you got right there are probably your best picks, Logano, Larson, and Hamlin. Kyle Busch, I don't know about. Until Kyle Busch's contract situation is figured out, he's kind of distracted. I would sort of stay away from him. But those first three are probably going to be your best. And if you want me to narrow it down to one, I guess for that, Logano and Larson, I would take it. Just I'm a Larson fan, so I would take Larson. But if you're going off of speed, they're still pretty close. So it could be Logano. If you're a Logano guy, if you're a Ford guy, go with Logano. Like that's those first three right there. Flip a coin because I think they're all about equal. Denny Hamlin is 11th on speed. So Logano, Larson, and Hamlin would be my A tier pick. However you're going to do it. B tier, I don't know. I don't necessarily know how your fantasy structure is set up, but I like Logano, Larson, and Hamlin. Then if you're putting in four drivers, I would put in Elliot. So I would go Elliot, Hamlin, Larson, and Logano out of that garage right there. Do you think aggression with the 9 car? They've already had free to pay free. They've already had that. They had that sit down, and Kyle Larson said he did more listening than anything else. So I think they've had the sit down. It was a team meeting on Monday, and he said he did a lot of listening. I've heard it brought up on Race Hub. Yeah, they already had that sit down, and I think that conversation was had amongst everybody. Like it was no he said, she said, all there around the table, and those conversations were had. Which is probably the best way to do it because then there's no he said, she said, oh, this person said such and such. They had the sit down meeting all at one big table and talked it out. That being said, I don't know that you do anything different in that situation. You have to win for your team. You can't worry about stuff like that. So did he use him up? Yeah. Did he use him up in the worst way I've ever seen somebody used up? No. I mean, he doored him it was a type of bump and run. If the 9 car did it, I wouldn't have a problem with it. The 5 car did it, I don't have a problem with it. We've seen Ross Chastain do it. I don't have a problem with it. In this particular points system, you have to go for wins. And if you don't go for wins, you might as well just sit at home because wins are the only thing that matter. Martin Truex was the fifth place person in points. He's not in the playoffs. So you can't drive around and be nice like he was a nice driver too. But you can't drive around like Martin Truex and treat people with respect and get into the playoffs. You have to go for wins when they are presented. I know Kyle Larson's in the playoffs, but you have to keep that mentality the entire time because you can't be slacking. It's just a product of this point system. That being said, they've definitely had the talk. They've sat around the table and had the talk for sure. I swear I better not have cursed the 99 when I say he's not making the round of 16. I think I did, though, since he almost failed tech 4 times and would have gotten a point penalty. If I did, I'm sorry, Suarez. Well, he's also, that's another thing. Daniel Suarez has to do a pass-through penalty at the beginning of the race, so he's basically going to start the race at least 1 lap down. NASCAR guy, what's up, buddy? Let's see. I made a tweet this week talking about the lack of NASCAR caring. It seems they do about anything the drivers say. The safety in the cars needs to be addressed. However, they seem to be ignoring it. I agree with you in large part, but they did actually have an article on NASCAR.com, which means NASCAR is at least starting to look at it or at least starting to spin the PR in their direction. So they at least know that it is a serious issue. So hopefully we will get some movement as far as a crumple zone, because that's what they need. They need crumple zones in the front and rear to dissipate some of the energy. The car is too rigid, and that's the problem. AJ was offered the ride full time, but he said he didn't want it and was having fun in Xfinity. I said, Mark Martin fan for life. Well, that's cool. Good for AJ. I hope he keeps doing what he's doing then. If that's what makes him happy, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. He might not want to do all 36 weeks. I can totally understand that. Totally understand that. Especially winding the year down here in late model. So I can totally understand where he's coming from with that. Trying to keep up with the track is the biggest challenge, says John Mick. Yeah, the track and the tires are going to be the biggest challenge here. Team Penske fan with a big smile. Who should I replace Chastain with? Let's see here. Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, Tyler Reddick would be a good one. Eric Jones would be a good one. Let's see. Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch. Yeah, and actually, believe it or not, this sounds crazy, but you can probably get a dollar value for Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon's average finish here, as far as fantasy goes, is 11.1. Pretty strong, and he has had 4 top 10s. So as far as top 10s go, he's up there at the very top. So, I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but Austin Dillon wouldn't be a bad value pick if you need to, depending on how your thing's set up, save money or save points. But, yeah. Dillon, Truex, I think you already had Hamlin in there, and Tyler Reddick would definitely be in there. I would definitely put Tyler Reddick in there over Ross Chastain, no doubt about it. Christopher Bell. Oh, yeah, Christopher Bell is also a good pick. Christopher Bell would be good in there. He has a fast car. Yeah, the Toyotas are pretty fast, too. Christopher Bell wouldn't be a bad pick either. But I like Tyler Reddick a little bit better. Tyler Reddick's really good there. You have to pick one. Who's your choice for the championship? As far as it's gone so far, you have to go Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's had the best season by far. Maverick. That being said, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. We saw Kevin Harvick win 9 races and didn't even make the final 4. So anything can happen. Just sort of how it plays out. But if you're looking at it right now, just by the numbers, you got to go Chase Elliott. No doubt about it. To be your championship favorites. Put $10 on Kyle for kicks. Larson plus 20 on the money line. NASCAR Cup Series 2022 risk 10 to win 62. I like it, Sonny V. Not a bad pick at all. Bumblebee William Byron would be a good replacement for Chastain. William Byron's pretty stout here as well. Be like the All-Star race, but for the playoffs. Yeah. JD Mayo talking about Darlington being the last race for the championship. That would definitely be a good one. Hope everyone is well, says Danny and Gray's Cards and Toys. I'm doing good. I hope everybody else is doing good as well. Good to see you here, Danny. JD Mayo, Byron isn't moving anywhere from Hendrick. They're already having Bowman on the move. I mean, William Byron brings in plenty of sponsor money. Alex Bowman's situation has always been sketchy as far as sponsorship goes. I don't think it's a talent thing. I think you have to, when they look at drivers, they look at them as a combination of talent and money they bring in. Money they bring in being way more important than talent. So Byron's locked in with sponsorship. But I think they just signed Alex Bowman to a contract extension, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they, at least last year, maybe, I don't know. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about anybody moving from Hendrick. I think Rick Hendrick's pretty happy with what he's got right now. Justin Pearson plus 230 odds for a Ford manufacturer to win. I'm taking that. Yeah, that's not a bad bet at all, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes only. No doubt. Like that's really good. I would definitely take that because they look pretty strong here this week. Of course, anything can happen, but as far as just raw speed, those Penske cars have looked really, really fast, even with average lap times and all that. Danny going with Larson as well. Danny and Gray's Cards and Toys going with Larson as well. Molten Rage, Suarez, this is not what he wanted to start his playoff hopes with. A pass-through penalty, probably going at least one lap down, which is already going to put him at a deficit if he doesn't unlap himself quickly. Yeah, but if he can basically just hold on, he can probably, I don't know exactly when the competition caution is going to, there might not be a competition caution because they had practice. So he's going to have to catch a quick caution, really. It's going to be a rough one. Sportsmaster, what's going on? One of the OGs. Good to see you, Sportsmaster. Sonny V, Larson, Kyle plus 620. Moneyline NASCAR Cup Series and plus 10 to win, 62. Yep. I like those odds. Dwayne Mueller, Austin has been good at Darlington. I like Harvick today, even though he didn't qualify well. Childers will get it right by the end of the race, I hope. Oh, yeah. Kevin Harvick's really good. I think he has to be one of your top 5 favorites. I mean, I know I talked about it with the money, with the statistics. Statistically, Kevin Harvick is by far the best guy here, but also he just drives it really well here. So he's got to be one of your favorites, even if he doesn't have the absolutely perfect car. You don't have to have a perfect car to win this race. It's just about managing tires, and I think he's one of the guys that can do that better than anybody else. So you can't sleep on Harvick. So outside of the Penske cars being fast, if you're making that Ford bet, you've also got Harvick in there. And like I said, every once in a while, Eric Almirola jumps in there. And yeah, definitely Austin Dillon is a wild card pick. Austin Dillon's sneaky good here. It's one of the tracks he's really good at. And RCR is really good here because Tyler Reddick is also really good here. So I wouldn't sleep on RCR here either. Let's see. Oh, hey, Brock Beard's brother. What's going on, Jeff? Mike George, hello. What's going on, Mike George? The drivers need to band together and insist that NASCAR fix these cars. No reason they move backwards when it comes to safety. Yeah, for sure. So the big line from NASCAR that's gotten a lot of attention is NASCAR said these cars, they're hitting harder than they've ever hit because they're going faster than they've ever gone, and they're hitting at different angles than they've ever hit, which is a load of BS. These cars are slower than the other cars previously. And since NASCAR has been around, I'm pretty sure these cars have hit at every angle possible under the sun. So that was just a really weak line from NASCAR. Now, NASCAR has come out and put out something that's kind of walked that back. Like I said, there's an article on NASCAR.com where they at least address the safety deal. So I think NASCAR has realized that their PR, and that this is how you get NASCAR to make changes. Once the PR goes the wrong way, that's when NASCAR starts making changes. So now that the PR has gone the wrong way for NASCAR is going to look at this and make some type of change, probably in the offseason. Chase Elliott says that they talked to Chase Elliott about it, and he said some of the changes are going to be down the road. You're not going to see them immediately. So NASCAR at least has something, according to Chase Elliott, in the works that we're probably going to see next year, hopefully. But there needs to be some type of crumple zone in the front and rear to absorb some of this impact instead of sending it straight to the driver. There's no doubt about that. Bumblebee said, Brock's better looking brother, LOL. Appreciate it, Bumblebee. Thanks. I needed that today. Wilbert Gray, 24, is going to win today. Look, here's the deal with William Byron. Has William Byron been in R&D mode ever since Darlington last time, right? Him and Joey Logano at the very end of Darlington last time. He has had a terrible season ever since then. Did after that race, they go into R&D mode and figure out something for speed? Because this is the best William Byron has looked since last time at Darlington. So you can't sleep on William Byron here. Definitely a really good pick. Because I think Penske has been in R&D mode for at least 10 races, because Penske has not looked great. Other than Ryan Blaney, they weren't R&Ding with Ryan Blaney. They were trying to get him in the playoffs. But I think Joey Logano and Austin Cindric have been in R&D mode, because you see Penske show up and all of a sudden, first race of the playoffs, they're at the top of the board. I think Penske has been testing stuff and finding some extra speed. It's very possible that William Byron has been in the same mode. Both of those guys, Alex Bowman and William Byron, both possibly have been in R&D mode. That's why they've been slower than the 5 and the 9 car. So I wouldn't be surprised by that. Of course, Hendrick is notorious for that. That's how Jimmy Johnson won all of his titles under the old system. They would win a few races in the early. You could actually look at it every year. They would win a bunch of races early. Middle of the season, they would sort of flounder around, and people would be like, what happened to Jimmy Johnson? Then when the playoffs came around, Jimmy Johnson starts reeling off wins again. That was basically how Jimmy Johnson won all of his titles. Wouldn't surprise me if these teams were doing basically the same thing. And that's just part of the playoff era. That's how people do it. Bell looked bad fast yesterday in both series. I said negative squirrel. Yeah, Christopher Bell likes this place. This seems to be one of those tracks that dirt racers, it really, because of the slickness of it, because of the tire fall off, it's very kind to dirt racers. It's very kind to that skill set, that car control skill set. So I think a lot of your dirt racers are good here. I think Hendrick needs to replace Alex Bowman with Kyle Busch, says Maverick. Now, I like Alex Bowman, but if you can get Kyle Busch, yeah, that's definitely a good move. I don't think that's going to happen, though, for a multitude of reasons. First off, nobody has mentioned Hendrick, which doesn't mean anything. It could be a secret deal they've got going on under the table. But just because I haven't heard anything about it doesn't mean anything. But I'm leaning. I don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. But if I had to take a guess, it's going to be either RCR or Colleague if he leaves Toyota. There's a chance he just stays at Toyota, and all of this other stuff has been leveraging and bargaining to get a better deal from Toyota. Yodas. All right, I'm going to end the poll. And let's see what we got. 40% other, 30% Larson, 17% Harvick, 4% Denny Hamlin. I should have put Truex in there to make it a little more interesting. I think there is a great disdain amongst a lot of people for Denny Hamlin. I don't think people want to vote for him. He's right up there with Kyle Busch, where he's just polarizing. Let's see. I wish they wouldn't make them slower, says JD Mayo. Yeah, well, I think part of that is they wanted to. They think slower is safer, and they wanted to take away some of the horsepower to bring other manufacturers in there, because when they were building these engines at the within inches of their lives, these engines were blowing up, and other manufacturers couldn't come in without spending a ton of money. So they've taken the horsepower away to encourage other manufacturers to come into the sport. That's why they made them slower, in my opinion. Now, why they went with a Australian supercar for Cup Series racing, I have no idea. But it's been a competitive car so far, other than the short tracks, unfortunately. So it's got some potential, but it also needs to be fixed as far as crumple zones and sending impact to the. It's got potential, but it's also got a ton of problems. So it can't be understated that it also has problems with it as well. Jeff is going with Chase Elliott today. That's not a bad pick. Chase Elliott is good here. Doesn't have the results to show for it. I guess that's the way I should have said it earlier. Doesn't have the results to show for it, but he's led a ton of laps here, and he is really good at this track. And like I said, if you look at his DraftKings line, he's laid a pretty good line. That's about the best line you're ever going to get on Chase Elliott. So it wouldn't be a bad pick here at all. let's say I had $40. One of my $10 bets would definitely be Chase Elliott for entertainment purposes only. Of course, we're talking about monopoly money. I'll give NASCAR some credit. After Dale in 01, there hasn't been another tragedy. So they need to get back to that mindset. 92, 93, 94. Those were real dangerous years. I agree with you, Robin Marks. For such a long time, safety was a huge, huge deal. And now it feels like they're not listening to drivers who are basically telling them that this car is dangerous. So it's kind of hard for us older guys that remember how those years were. And now it feels like NASCAR is not taking what the drivers are saying seriously. I don't know. Something needs to be done. Hopefully NASCAR gets its head out of the sand, saying out of the sand, because, I'm on YouTube. So, but you know where I really want them to take their head out of. Charlotte Anders. So, two-part question. Part one, was the contact at the end of last night's Xfinity race anyone's fault or just hard racing? I think it's just hard racing, Charlotte. What you saw there was Sheldon Creed had been running the outside. I couldn't think of his name for a second. Sorry. Sheldon Creed had been running the outside, and then he saw Larson go to the inside. So he went down on the inside to basically side draft Larson. And when he side drafted Larson, it made Larson loose. He slid up into him, and that's sort of where the contact came from and started. Sheldon Creed didn't seem to have a problem with it. Sheldon Creed knew what the deal was. So it was just, and look, Sheldon Creed had to do that to win the race. Kyle Larson had to pass on the inside to win the race too. It was just basically a racing deal. I hated to see it from the perspective that Kyle Larson isn't racing for points. Sheldon Creed is racing for points. But at the end of the day, like I said, you have to go for wins. You're putting that car specifically in that race to go for a win, so you had to go for wins. So from that perspective, I hated it. But I think if Kyle Larson wasn't there at all, Noah Gragson would have basically made the same move. It would have been the same outcome, would have been the same situation. So I hate it for Sheldon Creed. Like, he did everything anybody possibly could have done to win that race with the third or fourth fastest car and some track position. Like, he gave it his all. He gave it everything. And you always hate to see it when a guy leaves absolutely everything out there and just comes up one spot short. But that was the situation. I don't think the contact was anything serious or intentional. It was just two guys going for it, and they got loose. And even Noah Gragson, he had to go for it at the end to get that pass because you saw him hit the wall and then come back off of it before he finally passed Sheldon Creed. But Sheldon Creed riding the wall to try to get a win is going to be one of those iconic moments that you're going to see when NASCAR does those montage videos. You'll see, even when they're trying to advertise for the Cup Series, you'll see Sheldon Creed's car in there. I can almost promise you. That'll be one of the highlights they put in one of those montage reels to get you hyped up. Part two, hypothetically, if Chastain was in the 17, do we feel the same way? Charlotte Ander, yeah, I feel the same way. Now, on TV, they're going to say it was Ross Chastain being crazy. They have a serious bias, for whatever reason, toward Ross Chastain. And don't think for 1 second that they haven't been called out on it, because you've noticed a few of the announcers have started to walk it back. They started to walk back some of their Ross Chastain comments. So a few of them have walked it back, and you noticed even Jeff Burton hasn't had much to say about it. Jeff Burton just chooses not to talk about him at this point, which is better than him talking about him with a bias. Now, I don't mind if a guy has an opinion and has a bias that way, but just at least say you have a bias. I don't mind that at all. But Jeff Burton has never come out and said, I just don't like the way Ross Chastain drives. Like, that's all I need to hear him say, and then he can go into another one of his Ross Chastain rants. But I think there is definitely a double standard for what Ross Chastain does and what everybody else does. And I think part of it is this is the first year Ross Chastain has competed for a championship, and he's new to it. And those other guys are just not familiar racing with him. And he's a new guy, and they're just, for lack of a better word, they're hazing the new guy. And I think Ross Chastain just needs to hold his ground, and I think he will. I don't think he'll change the way he drives. He just needs to hold his ground for sure. My final pick is Joey Logano. He's really good here. Yeah, Joey Logano is definitely good here. He's definitely a good pick. And he's probably, as far as raw speed, he's probably the fastest car. I like that pick, Bumblebee, for sure. He would be another one of the guys I put the $10 bet on. No doubt in my mind about that. Chris Davis, good morning, buddy. What's going on, Chris? Jeff, I am the only one who remembers when Hamlin broke his back in 2013 and nobody really questioned the safety of the car. Not only his back, Jeff, but I think he got both of his ankles too. Like something happened with he fractured, I think, both of his ankles too. Because another piece of that was his ankle was messed up, and they did some other stuff to the car there. I don't know if you remember the safety foam on the side of the car. That's actually where the safety foam came from in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Some energy absorption on the side. Are you talking about this? The old car is not as safe, or I don't know what you're getting at there, but yeah, racing's not safe at all. But I'm saying this car right here is sending more impact in, and Denny Hamlin is actually. It's interesting you brought up Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin's actually making a point to sit out the Xfinity race. He made it very well known he's sitting out the Xfinity race because the wreck he took in Daytona was so hard that he still hasn't recovered from it. I think he could drive that Xfinity race if he wanted to. I think he is making a point to NASCAR that, hey, these cars are giving too much feedback to the driver, and that's why I'm sitting out the Xfinity race. If you want to see us start missing races, I think this is very political and very savvy from Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is saying something without saying it, and he's making his point to NASCAR without blasting them in the media, which sometimes is what you have to do. Chris Davis, go do research on the old NASCAR points rules. About what? Today's points rules are better. I mean, that's an opinion. Like if you like the playoffs, there's nothing wrong with that. All opinions are welcome. I just think if you look at the fastest growing motorsport right now, it's F1, right? F1 has season-long points, so it doesn't seem to be hurting them to crown a more traditional champion that stacks up points throughout the entire season. So I think the argument that the playoffs are exciting, right? That's everybody's argument. The playoffs are way more exciting than the old point system. Well, they might be, but the sport is not growing as fast as a sport that has a season-long point system. So do you want to do excitement for the purpose of entertainment and sort of in one aspect go the route of WWE, or do you want to crown a traditional champion that can be compared throughout history to other champions? It's just a preference. There's nothing, one's not better or worse than the other. I just have a preference for season-long points because it's a more traditional champion. Some people have a preference for entertainment and they like whatever it is about the playoffs other than entertainment that they might like. Like I said, I can't think about liking the playoffs. I can't sit here and be fake and say I like the playoffs and then try to put myself in the mindset of this is what's great about the playoffs and come out all fake like that. Not a big fan of the playoffs, but there are a lot of people that like the playoffs, and the biggest selling point they have is that it is more entertaining. So that's fine. But I've definitely done my research on it. I didn't get that comment necessarily. Suarez is already below the cut line, so he came into the playoffs at a deficit -2. So this doesn't help him out, but he could maybe salvage this potentially because cars are fast and no bad luck. That's if though. For sure, Suarez is he's going to be in a hole, and he's going to have to do something to get him out. To be fair, the drivers have been racing these cars like bumper cars. They didn't drive this aggressively 20 years ago. Bill Hall said, yeah, and that's a product of this win and you're in point system. Not to go back to that point system again, but that's a product of the win and you're in point system. Drivers didn't have to win every single race under the old point system. Bill Hall, I can't agree. It was fun watching Dale and Jeff go rounds. Said Robin Marks. Yeah, but they weren't necessarily wrecking each other for wins as much as they were doing bump and runs. But rose-colored glasses, I don't know. I was a little kid when all that was going on. Sage Karam absolutely roasted F1, says Jeff. Appreciate the insight, Baloney. I agree with your points. I added the we into part 2, meaning more traditional media included their obvious anti-Raw spot. Oh, yeah. I knew what you're talking about, Charlotte. Yeah, I don't know why. I understand why drivers might not like Ross Chastain. He's winning and he's roughing them up, in their opinion. But I don't get why the media all of a sudden, unless it's just to appease the vast majority of the drivers, I don't know why the media jumped into that immediate Ross Chastain bias. Robin Mark says too rigid means rattling your bones and brain. I agree. The more rigid it is, the more impact it sends straight up to you. Did you watch the race for the championship? I enjoyed it, and I really cannot stand the Drive to Survive for its manufactured, over-edited drama, says Connor Brown. So yeah, that's where Connor Brown, that's where they get their entertainment aspect from. NASCAR's entertainment aspect comes from the playoffs, where they generate as many Game 7 moments as possible. That's what this system was built to do. So NASCAR generates their drama and excitement that way. F1 is generating their drama and storyline telling through the Drive to Survive. The way it's edited is very misleading sometimes, is what Connor's talking about. And you're 100% right about that. That's been a very common criticism of that. But for whatever reason, it's worked. So it's one of those deals where some people watch F1 for the TV show. Some people watch F1 for F1. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. NTT is better than F1, a NASCAR version of IndyCar racing. Says JD Mayo. Okay. I'm not exactly sure. Are you talking about the point system, or are you talking about the racing overall, JD? If you're talking about season-long points, I would agree with you. If you're talking about racing, I don't watch a whole lot of IndyCar and stuff like that. Charlotte Ander, I disagree. When the playoffs are engineered to be exciting, they really aren't exciting. When a season-long battle comes down to 4 to 6 guys mathematically in it for the last race is truly something. Yeah, it's always better when it's an organic championship at the very end. In my opinion, I'm not necessarily trashing the playoffs. If you like the playoffs, that's fine. It's just my opinion. Like, I'm just trying to be honest about which one I like. But I like season-long points. But that's just the way. That's just the way I like it. This is a hot topic. I'd like to go back to the old system, which I don't think they will. Oh, they're definitely not going back to the old system. If not, I can live with the playoffs. The win and you're in is terrible. The win and you're in is definitely something they could look at. A lot of people have mentioned leave 6 spots open for win and you're in, but then the top 10 in points would always be locked in, so you could do your 16 that way. That's probably a pretty decent way to do it, like, because you want the guys with the best seasons to be in there, and then your last 6 could be win and you're in. If you had like 6 one-time winners that year, or 2-time, like however you would do it, I think that would be a different way of locking in your 16. And that's what I'm saying going forward in the playoffs. Since I think they're going to keep the playoffs, let's look at a different way of locking in your 16. I'm not sitting here and saying, I'll change the playoffs just because that's my opinion, because I think that's unrealistic. They're not going to change the playoffs. They like the playoffs. They want to keep the playoffs. So if you're going to change the playoffs, do your top 10 in points. That's one way of locking in. Or you can win a race. That way you keep the win and you're in mentality, and you also make people happy by putting the top 10 in points in. Because every year it seems like somebody is going to get messed over. And also I think, but just not for nothing, JD Mayo said Dr. Pepper is my favorite soda as well. Soda as well. I drink the zeros. Yeah, zeros are pretty good. They used to have one that was extra cherry and also zero that was pretty good, but they did away with it. But I think 16 is too many. That's also another issue I've had with it. So it is what it is. I think at least your top 5 in points should always be locked in, though. But that's just me. It is what it is. Here's what I think. NASCAR should go back to the pre-2014 chase format. That way you still have to be consistent, but no elimination format. Said Jeff. Yeah, but I think, and I agree with you 100%, but I think that NASCAR is just done with being consistent. I don't know why they've moved off of that, but I think that's a much better system. But I think now that they have 16 drivers in, they're going to have to keep doing elimination, because that's just that's what they've gone to, and that's what they like. That being said, you can still have season-long points and eliminate somebody, like not season-long. You can still have, whenever the cutoff is, last 10 races, the points would still be cumulative. You just cut off however you want to do it. Cut off the 3 or 4 you want to cut off after each 3 races. You could still do it that way. That would definitely be a way of doing it. But I think they'll I agree with you. But you could technically do it both ways where they eliminate the first 4 after 3 races. You could still eliminate the first 4, but points would still be cumulative. So that would be another way they could do that. I'm just trying to work with what NASCAR wants to do because we know they want to keep the playoffs. I'm just a season-long points proponent. Media jumping on Chastain because they don't have KFB for a villain this year, says Mark Barnum. I agree, and I think for a long time it was Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch. So now they're trying to create a new young villain because those guys are sort of closer. Not necessarily Joey Logano; he's basically in his prime, but Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin are toward the end of their career, so they're creating a new villain for storytelling purposes. It's part of it. That's what the media does. The media has to sell articles just like everybody else. Speaking of WWE, it's too bad NBC couldn't hire an announcer like Lord Alfred Hayes, who showed no bias toward anyone during live broadcasts, even when the villains. He would be better than Jeff Burton. That's pretty good if you remember Lord Alfred back in the day, no doubt. Do owners receive owners points? Yes. So the car number receives the owners points. And that is actually how the bonus points are paid out, Chris Davis. So, yes, the owners do receive owners points for the car number. And the bonus money at the end of the year is linked to the car number. And that is why Bubba Wallace is in the 45. They put the 45 basically on the 23 and taking the 23 and put it on the 45 car. The reason they're doing that is because Bubba Wallace is now their veteran driver, and they think they've got a better chance of finishing higher in the owners points than if they had the rookie in there who hasn't had as much experience with his particular crew chief. They're going with the crew chief driver combination they've had longer, and they're doing it trying to get the best car number finish in the playoffs that they can get. Now, the owner's points are reset just like the driver's points are reset. So there will be a owner's playoff and a driver's playoff, if that makes any sense. And they're trying to win the owner's playoff because that's where the bonus money comes from. Pros about the playoff system, anybody can win. Cons about the playoff system, anybody can win. That's a good way of putting it, Connor Brown. So it's really hard to see, and I'll just use the Kevin Harvick season as an example because I've made a video about that before too. It's really hard to see Kevin Harvick win 9 races and not even make the Final 4. That's just so odd to see. And taking nothing away from Chase Elliott that year, Chase Elliott is the champion from that year because he won like 5 races at the end of the year to get that championship. He played the system the way the system is laid out, and everybody had the same rules at the beginning of the year. But if you look at that entire year, it is really hard to say that Kevin Harvick didn't have the best overall season. But Chase Elliott is your champion because the champion is awarded by the playoff system. So he's absolutely the champion. It just logically, when you look at it, you're like that in the classic traditional sense of the word champion, it doesn't make sense because clearly that year Kevin Harvick had the best year. But that's not how the rules were laid out. And by the rules, which is part of it, Chase Elliott had the best year because he played the game. He got the win. He got into the playoffs. And they had done R&D for those tracks at the end of the year, and he had the best car for those tracks at the end of the year. So it's part of the game, and that's why I say he played by the rules of that season. If the rules that season had been different, Chase Elliott might have raced a completely different way. So you can't say Chase Elliott isn't the champion, but it's also hard to look at it and be like, dang on, Kevin Harvick won 9 races. How's he not in the Final 4 at least? So it's just a different way of going about your business and the crown and the champion. That's why I say it doesn't reward a traditional champion, but it does create excitement and it does create drama and it creates conversations that we're having right here. So that's probably what NASCAR wants it to do. They don't want anyone beating Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s 7 championship record under the old point system. Look at Jimmy Johnson when he got to 7. NASCAR wanted to be gone, so he couldn't beat him. That's definitely one way of looking at it. And the other way of looking at it is JD Mayo with that comment. The other way of looking at it is NASCAR looked at Jimmy Johnson winning 5 in a row, and they said this is hurting the sport more than it's helping it. And to me, if you got a dominant champion like that, it's always going to hurt the sport. You look at F1 when Schumacher was winning all those titles, you could see the viewership go down because people get tired eventually of seeing the same guy win. And that's just the way it was. Nothing against Jimmy Johnson, but Jimmy Johnson was so good, and Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus were so good in that era that they actually hurt NASCAR by being so good, by having the system figured out better than other people. Charlotte Anders says everyone remembers the 92 season, even if they weren't alive. Will any of the playoff championship battles be remembered in 30 years? I think the one with Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart will always be remembered, even though that's technically under the old system. I think Joey Logano will be remembered just because that was deemed such an upset, even though that was Penske's plan that whole year was to get a few wins early and then, excuse me, then go into R&D mode for the playoffs, which I think they've done again this year, by the way, because even Joey Logano's come out and said, I've got to be the favorite for this, right? And I think the last time he said that, he won a championship in 2017, maybe. So I think there will be some that are remembered. Will they, by people over 30, will they be remembered like that? No. But people that have grown up with playoff system and the chase system, they will probably definitely be remembered. I think it's just a generational thing, and that's why I said I prefer season-long points, but I'm not going to sit here and beat my head up against the wall begging NASCAR to bring season-long points back. I wish they would. I don't think they ever will, so I'm trying to wrap my head around how to make a playoff system better. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But at the end of the day, it just depends on when you come into the sport. When you're younger, that's when you make your golden memories or whatever. So it just depends on what age you saw it. But that 92 championship will, in my opinion, always go down as the most exciting, greatest championship of all time. And probably Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards is second best. And I say that because those are two different systems, but they both were really exciting and will probably always be remembered. So to your point, I do think there will be some that will get remembered, but I don't know. It just depends on when you came into the sport and what point system you prefer as to how you're going to rank them in your top 10 or top 5, however you want to do it. Chris Davis, thanks for explaining it. Yeah, no problem, dude. Let's see. Jeff Gordon won 13 in 96 and finished second in points. Yeah, but he also had a bunch of DNFs. Kevin Harvick didn't have a bunch of DNFs the year he lost. I see what you're saying. And Ryan Newman, the year that Matt Kenseth won one race and won the championship, I think 03, Ryan Newman had a ton of DNFs. So you got to factor things in. Kevin Harvick had 9 wins, and he had very few DNFs that year. So like I said, I'm not taking anything away from Chase Elliott because Chase Elliott knew what the rules were, and he had a plan in place to win under those rules. It's just weird to see a guy win that many races and not have a whole lot of DNFs and still not be in the Final Four. But it is what it is. It's just a different point system. I hope we see another banger of a finish line last night. What a race that was. Noah Gragson, number 9, got it done. Yeah, that race was great, Stu, for sure. We talked about that at the very beginning. That'll be on NASCAR highlight reels forever. Like Sheldon Creed riding that wall trying to get the win. That'll be up there with Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven going for that win at Darlington. And notice both of those are Darlington wins. So, and to that point, a lot of people are saying Darlington should be the final race of the year for the championship. I could definitely see that being a deal too. I'm just going to say if Elliott had better luck in a few more races like the Coke 600, Darlington Spring Race, all that, Elliott has just as many wins as Harvick. And the season's still young. He can still get just as many wins as Harvick, Jeff. That's what I'm saying. If Chase, here's one thing that probably will get the points adjusted. If Chase Elliott doesn't make the Final Four somehow with the year he's had, then there's a good chance NASCAR takes a look at the playoff system and makes another tweak or adjustment. Because because NASCAR is all about PR right now. So I could definitely see that being one of those situations. Then again, on the Harvick thing, Matt Crafton won the playoffs with no wins at all. So it's really an odd system to even break into who does what. Yeah, it just depends on the year. Like this year, you've had 16 different winners. Another year, you'll have people that just stack up a bunch of wins. But then the last race, somebody sneaks in there with a really consistent season and takes it away like Crafton did. And basically like Daniel Hemrick did the year he won. He won one race. He won the one race that mattered, which to me would be the way to do it. Pretty good. Yeah, I won one race, the race that matters. And the reason you made this whole playoff system is because the guy won one race and won a championship. So I always thought the Daniel Hemrick win was sort of ironic. But it is what it is. If you like the playoffs, I'm not taking anything away from the playoffs. It's just a different way of going about your business. And I prefer season-long points. I just don't like being fake about it and saying, oh, the playoffs is so exciting. They're the greatest thing ever, when that's not actually how I feel about them. Let's see. Elliot was just going to have 9 or 10 win seasons if he didn't get messed over in those races in 2020. Oh, yeah. I mean, that you can look at Kyle Larson's 10-win season. If a few things didn't break right for Kyle Larson, he only would have had 5 or 6 wins that year too. And that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily the wins you look at, but it's just the way he's dominated that season. You look at laps led, you look at stage wins, this, that, and the other thing. He's just had the best season by far. Chase Elliott has. Take it to the bank. Cup. The Cup race today will not be as good as the Xfinity race yesterday. Mark Barnum, I don't think there will be many races we watch that'll be as good as the Xfinity race yesterday. That race was absolutely phenomenal to watch. Joey won the Cup in 2018, not 2017. Okay, so I was a year off on that. Appreciate it, Moulton. Ever since they came up with the lucky dog rule, NASCAR has been going downhill, and that was a long time ago, says Michael Mack. Yeah, that's back when they had single file restarts and stuff like that. You had single file restarts, and then you would put the lap cars on the inside lane, try to get their lap back that way. Jeremy Hale, was good meeting you at North Wilkesboro the other night. It's good meeting you too, Jeremy. I was glad to see some people out there at North Wilkesboro. That was really cool. North Wilkesboro event was really, really cool. I'm working on another. I know I did the junior highlights, but I'm actually working on another video as well to go with that. So when I get that done, I will post that. And I also found the memory card for how to make a bologna burger. So I will start working on that again. I lost that memory card. So now that I found it, I will get the how to make a bologna burger back up as well as the normal content where I talk about what's going on in NASCAR as well. So I will keep doing that as well. But I got some other stuff in the pipeline for you. I just need to get time to get to it. Remove the current points playoff format and bring back the former Winston Cup point system and award 100 bonus points for a win, says Mike George, which was very similar to the point system I laid out whenever I did that the other day. You're basically giving a third, give them a third more points for the win, and that would basically be another type of win and you're in situation that puts emphasis on wins. That would be another way of going about doing it. But I don't think they'll ever get rid of probably not anytime soon, at least, get rid of the playoff system. I never forget the Richard Petty flip at Darlington. Yeah, that was pretty gnarly. The one, not necessarily Darlington, but the one I always remember is Bobby Allison at Daytona rolling against the wall in that Miller car, because I always loved that Miller car. I thought that Miller car was awesome. That gold and white and red and green Miller car was so cool back in the day. Let's see. I never forget the Bumblebee says, did you enjoy the late models at Wilkesboro? Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's in my top 5 of races I've ever been to. And I will talk about that in the I'm doing another vlog or whatever where I'll talk about that. I see a ton of good things being said about it. I want your take on it coming back as a NASCAR as well. They definitely could bring it back into NASCAR, and I hope they do. They need to do a few things. Both roads, they need to make a road coming off of 420 where you can get into the back parking, and they need to basically some infrastructure stuff, and they need to put in at least a 4-lane road going to the racetrack. coming off the other side of 420. There's basically two ways you could get to the racetrack. And so they need to work on that because traffic will be a nightmare, especially for a cup race. But that being said, if they get that figured out and they get the grandstands and bleachers and stuff like that built up, they definitely need to have a cup race there because that track races so good. It puts on such a good show. I think at the very least get the Xfinity and the trucks there because I think that would be the absolute show. I think North Wilkesboro can put on really good racing, and this is why I've been a proponent for North Wilkesboro for a long time. It puts on some of the best racing of any short track, any of them. Like it puts Richmond to shame, which I know people bag on Richmond, but racing at North Wilkesboro is just so much fun to watch. And it was the first, and my bias is huge there because it was the first race I ever watched as a little kid. Rusty Wallace won the race. Him and Jeff Bodine battled at the very end. They traded bump and runs. And before that, Dale Earnhardt was leading with like the fourth fastest or sixth fastest car. And Ricky Rudd moved him out of the way. Then Earnhardt went to move Ricky Rudd out of the way. And when Earnhardt went to move Ricky Rudd out of the way, Ricky Rudd spun out. So they black flagged Earnhardt, put him at the back of the field, put Ricky Rudd at the back of the field. So I hated Ricky Rudd for most of my younger life because I was like, man, the first race I was ever going to go to, Dale Earnhardt was going to win. Being a Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty fan, that was a huge deal. And I felt like Ricky Rudd took that away from me. So I didn't like Ricky Rudd. But later when I grew up, I really began to appreciate Ricky Rudd. And he was a great driver and a good dude. I was just so mad as a little kid. I mean, you can imagine a little kid. I hated Ricky Rudd, like hated him. But that being said, it was such a great finish. And you can look it up. I think it was 1988. Look up the 1988 finish at North Wilkesboro. Just whoever's got the video, fast forward it all the way to the very end where you see Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd spin each other out or whatever. And that was from there. It's an awesome finish. So check that one out. But that's what got me hooked. So I'm biased toward North Wilkesboro, and I think they should bring it back to sort of wrap up that thought. When I named off those races, I was talking about 2020 when Elliot won the title. He would have had just as many wins as Harvick that year. Yeah, for sure. I knew what you meant, Jeff. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like Chase Elliott, his 2020 was a good, solid year. I'm just saying, if you're just looking at it and you see a guy with 9 wins who doesn't make the Final Four, just like this year, you could see Chase Elliott get 7 or 8, 9 or 10 wins. If he doesn't make the Final Four, you're going to feel some kind of way about that playoff system, and you're probably going to want it to be tweaked. I think anybody would. I don't mind that Chase Elliott won. He is a deserving champion. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying the fact that Kevin Harvick wasn't even in the Final Four is kind of weird. Early in the chase, but the storm is coming. I didn't like the way the championship NASCAR used to have set up, but I hate it the way they have it now. Yeah, like I'm saying, there's always going to be critiques of the point system, no matter what it is. But that being said, I don't know. I just feel like season-long points for the long haul, for the health of the sport in the long haul, is probably the better way to go. But we will have to see how this championship playoff system plays out. I feel like we're in the early stages of it. There's probably going to be some tweaks they make to it. Is this championship playoff system going to grow the sport, or is it going to hurt the sport for the long run? Because my criticism of it is, even casual fans, people outside of the sport, look at this playoff system. They don't understand it. They typically make fun of it. And that's one of the reasons that the NASCAR hillbilly wrestling stereotype continues, especially when NASCAR comes out and makes statements like, we're sports entertainment. That is linked with wrestling. So I think the playoff system, is that going to help NASCAR grow? Or is it going to keep NASCAR in this shell of a Southern sport that is backwards and all these typical stereotypes? The people that basically think Talladega Nights is a documentary. Is it going to keep NASCAR in that particular realm? Or is the playoffs going to help NASCAR break that mold? That's my concern. That's another concern I have about the playoffs. So it's more nuanced than me just saying, oh, I hate the playoffs. but I have serious concerns about the playoffs and the health of NASCAR going forward with them. But that being said, I might be making too much of it. I might not be making enough of it. North Wilkesboro is Richmond's daddy, says Bumblebee. No doubt about that. Wilkesboro needs to add softballs. Tacona, yeah, they will. They'll when they repave the track, they'll widen it out a little bit and give them room for those softballs. No doubt about it. Cup playoff, cut line grid. 9th, Kevin Harvick. 10th, Christopher Bell. 11th, Kyle Busch. 12th, Chase Briscoe. 13th, Suarez. 14th, Cindric. 15th, Bowman. And 16th is Austin Dillon. Those are Molten Rage's picks. Good, solid picks there. Greetings from Chattanooga. Love your channel. What's up, Tip Jackson? Good to have some Tennessee people in here. I've never actually been to Chattanooga, so that's one place in Tennessee I haven't actually been. So probably need to get out there. I've been to Nashville and basically all of East Tennessee. I've been over East Tennessee and Memphis, but I need to visit Chattanooga. That's actually one I haven't visited. When I was young, I thought Ricky Rudd and Ricky Craven were the same person, says Charlotte Ander. Yeah, that's they both. Yeah, I can see where that happens. David Reagan and David somebody else. David Reagan and David Gilliland. A lot of people always got those two guys mixed up because they both at one point drove the 6 car. So that was another one a lot of people got mixed up. It's funny how life goes like that. 89 was the year Dale, Rudd and Dale wrecked and Jeff Bodine won. Yeah, this was a year before, and Rusty Wallace won. But if you look at it, look up at the very end of the 88 or maybe 87 race. Very, very similar ending for sure, Bumblebee. But yeah, Rudd and Dale and Jeff Bodine actually, all three of them had a good rivalry with Dale Earnhardt. So, or both of those guys had a good rivalry in the 80s with Dale Earnhardt for sure. Yeah, no doubt. I do remember the 89 race you're talking about too. That was a little more cut and dry than the one I'm talking about. But yeah, I do remember what you're talking about. Dwayne Mansell, with these new cars and no crumple factor, they would for sure need the softballs. Yeah, for sure. They're going to put them in. There's no doubt about that. They're coming either way. The only issue is that there is essentially 15 plus years of newer fans that don't understand the NASCAR Cup Series, that doesn't use a chase and playoff system. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. I don't know if you missed that part, Johnny Plush. It's definitely the era you came into NASCAR watching it. So if you never knew season-long points, you're never going to miss them. That being said, I think some of these newer fans are watching F1 and seeing the F1 point system, and hopefully that F1 point system will win them over, and they will push for change in the NASCAR point system as well. And that's what I was saying about casual fans. Casual fans, they watch a little bit of F1, a little bit of IndyCar, and NASCAR is the only one with this playoff point system. So I still think that there's a chance that eventually, probably won't be in my lifetime, but eventually you'll see a push for a younger generation to ask for a different point system that rewards a more traditional champion in the sense of the word. Zach H, poor Bubba, 300 points from the playoffs, now in Kurt's ride, car owner for the championship. So he doesn't feel, but he's not in the driver. He's in the owner's championship, and they're just doing it for money because he's the veteran driver. I get what you're saying, but they're not. It's not like Bubba Wallace would win a ring if he won the owner's championship or anything like that. It's just a financial bonus at the end of the year. Zach H, I see what you're saying. It's a common criticism. Like there's just people. He's right up there with Kyle Busch and all, Denny Hamlin and people that get booed. Bubba Wallace has a lot of people that don't like him, and I get it. But it's not like he's going to win a ring or anything like that. They're just putting their veteran in that car to get the best finish they can for the bonus money at the end of the year. John Bombright said Tennessee's in the house. Yeah, for sure. Go Vols. Who had a pretty good game from what I saw of it the other day. Sonny V, if you could pick one person to bring common sense to run NASCAR, who would it be? Probably Mike Helton. He could probably set it straight. I don't know. For a situation like that to happen, NASCAR would have to sell. which they seem to be condensing all of their assets. So if they sold to somebody like SMI and Marcus Smith, I could see Marcus Smith, if he ever took the reins, he would be a good guy. He would probably listen to the fans and do probably a more traditional points type system, because the vast majority of NASCAR fans have been asking for a new point system for a long time, and it's just fallen on deaf ears, and it becomes very frustrating. So it is what it is. But probably I have to look at it like you could name a million people that could probably come in and run it differently. But realistically, Marcus Smith would be the only guy who I could see in a position where, like, if SMI bought out NASCAR and he basically ran NASCAR, that would probably be the best way to do it. Did you hear California is banning all gasoline cars in 2035, Chris Davis? Yeah, I did hear about that, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I'm pretty sure they will make exemptions for haulers and for sporting events. But it's California, so they might not. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. It'll be very interesting to watch for sure, and how that affects the sport. So I don't know. Will they only have e-racing over in California in the future? I don't know. That's a California deal. They have to be the way California is constructed. The reason the smog in California is so bad is the geography of California. It's not necessarily the population or anything like that. So when the CO2 and carbon gases and stuff from the automobiles come up, there's a mountain range that basically locks it in and keeps it over California. That's why the smog in California is so bad, or cliffs or something like that. I was watching Donut Media did a thing about it. So that's why the smog is so bad in California. So that's why they are super aggressive about the cleanness of their air and cars over there. So that's probably going to be the first all electric state, if there ever is an all electric state. So we'll have to follow that in the future and see what comes of that. But I think even if they go all electric, you could still have like the Cup race and like you could still have automotive racing. It'll just be interesting to see how that plays out in the future. And I don't know what you do about your supply line, because you're still going to have diesel trucks go up and down the highway to deliver supplies and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But maybe cars, transportation, commuter cars, they might do that. That might be more realistic by 2035. But I think they'll have some other stuff in place by then as well. So it'll be interesting to watch. But like I said, I don't have a crystal ball. But if I had to put a guess on it, I would think they still would have gasoline Cup Series racing for sure. My sentiments exactly. Zach H. I can't remember what he was talking about, but Dwayne's agreeing with you, Zach. Those are not my picks. That's the actual cut line. Okay, I got you, Molten. 10-4. Tip Jackson, Chattanooga, home of Dale McDowell. There you go. Dwayne Mansell, Jimmy Johnson killed the old point system. Yeah, no doubt about it. He ruined it. No doubt about it. Ed Dean, watching Cletus McFarland at Bristol. Cletus McFarland's the man. He's got a great channel, so check out Cletus. And I'm actually fixing to hop off here in about 10 minutes. So if he's going live, stick with me for 10 minutes and then go watch Cletus. Logano is 2-0 on egg-shaped tracks this year. A good chance the winner comes from the Ford camp today. Dark horse, Austin Cindric. I'm with you on that, Mark Hunter. I think there's a really good chance Ford will win, and I think they were getting, minus 320 or 230 or something like that. I might have my numbers transposed there. So getting pretty good numbers for entertainment purposes only to take a swipe at Ford winning today. And I like Austin Cindric as that dark horse because we don't necessarily know what Austin Cindric can do here. He's only been here one time. And he's definitely in a fast car. We know he's a pretty good race car driver. So this could be one of those tracks where you see somebody like Austin Cindric win. Because back in the day, Darlington was known as the track for a lot of first-time winners because it's just so hard to wrap your head around how to get around the joint. So I think Austin Cindric could definitely he would definitely have to be one of your sleepers or just absolute spoiler. And I don't remember what odds he was getting laid, but I think they were pretty good. Don't remind me of Cole qualifying at Darlington. He's starting 30th. Yep, So hopefully Cole Custer is he'll manage his tires and get back up there, but he's had a rough season. Mark Barnum, Ed Dean, who was leading the Bristol race. So a lot of Cletus fans trying to check that out right now. Chris Davis, great live stream, buddy. I appreciate it, Chris. And you made some good points about the playoffs as well. Let's see. Logano, Harvick, Reddick, Larson are my final four. Says Cold Fire. That's a pretty solid final four. I would have to put Chase Elliott in there somewhere, but I like all your picks there. I would have to slide. I don't know. I would have to slide him in. I appreciate it, Chris. Chris with a super chat there. Thanks a whole lot for that. Yeah, I don't know who I would take out though, so that's a hard one. Logano, Reddick, maybe take out Reddick and put in Chase Elliott if I was doing it myself. But there is a chance because Kevin Harvick missed it the year he won 9 races. There is a chance that Chase Elliott misses. So if Chase Elliott misses, I like those picks: Logano, Harvick, Reddick, and Larson for sure. Austin Cindric looked good in qualifying. Almost got the pole. That was awesome from the rookie. Yeah, oh man, and not only him, but Michael McDowell putting in that run. Like Michael McDowell looked really good in his run too. Joey Logano ran a pretty crazy line to get that pole too. But Austin Cindric, he looked really good in practice as well. So he's definitely a good sleeper. I like McDowell as a sleeper there too. For whatever reason, I don't know if Ford was sandbagging. I had somebody text me before I started this. They said Ford been sandbagging all year. Now they're ready to go. I'm pretty sure Penske was doing R&D other than Blaney. So I agree. What's your favorite diecast in your collection? I know it's tough to pick. Just one. Well, I've got a couple of them, but probably the one I talk about the most is I was a big Kevin Harvick fan when Earnhardt left us because I knew Junior would get plenty of support because of his last name. So I went with Kevin Harvick, and Kevin Harvick had not won a truck series race because he was with the Spears 75, and that was basically a late model team that ran trucks. So for a long time, Kevin Harvick didn't have a truck series win. But he won the Xfinity Championship that year, or Busch Series as it was back then, and he had a Cup Series win, but he didn't have a Truck Series win. So when he got his first Truck Series win, you couldn't get the diecast anywhere other than like a hauler or ordering it from KevinHarvickOnline.com or whatever. So I went to Kevin Harvick's fan site and I ordered the truck. And I wasn't expecting anything special about it, but when he sent me the race win truck, and I think he did this with all of his diecasts back then, but when he sent me the race winning truck from KevinHarvick.com, he had autographed it too. So I've got his first Truck Series race win. I know it's a really weird, specific diecast to be stoked about, but that's up there. I also have like a 1/64th pullback, and it shoots across the floor, self-powered Dale Earnhardt number 15 Wrangler. That is pretty near and dear. And I just got Richard Petty's. I literally just got this one maybe a month ago. Richard Petty's last win in the Daytona car, where you see Air Force One flying across the track, and you see Richard Petty's car going there with it. One of the coolest shots in all of motorsports. So those would be my 3, but definitely that Kevin Harvick. That Kevin Harvick was really cool because I wasn't expecting it to be autographed, and I was like, man, that's really awesome that he autographed it. Which I saw that autograph, and that's the only time it's ever been out of the box. So it is still back in the box. I like it so much I won't take it out. Wahoo Wah says Larson wins today. Wahoo Wah, that's a University of Virginia thing. I think it's a type of fish, but I think they use it as a war chant too. So Wahoo Wah, Hamlin fan, he's going with the Larson for the win today. I like that pick. Cold Fire said, no, I think it's getting nasty. I don't know. What they're talking, he's talking with somebody up there. I don't know what they're talking about. I say we trade Bristol Dirt for Bristol Roval, or maybe a Dirt Roval. There you go, Aaron Armstrong, thinking outside of the box. NASCAR Freak says, I like when you say coming up next. I appreciate it. Some people absolutely hate it. I had one guy tell me he would watch the channel if I would just stop doing the corny intro. So it's polarizing, but I know a lot of you guys like it. You know what? And I told that guy I would put it up for a poll. So I will do that. Do you like the next intro? Can't spell. There you go. So I will put that up for him. I will let y'all vote on that. I know some people hate it. I know some people love it. I will tell you the story behind it while we're on the subject. I think, and just in case you only watch the live streams, when I do the pre-recorded videos, I go coming up because it's on this side, so I should probably do it like that. So some people absolutely hate it, but where it came from is back in the day, I was dating this girl and she watched American Idol or something, whichever one that Ryan Seacrest is on, and he would always do, and we'll get to that after. So where it came from is I'm making fun of Ryan Seacrest, so I don't have any real like attachment to it. Nobody was watching my YouTube videos like for a whole year, so I just started doing wacky stuff, and that's one of the things I started doing, and people like I don't know, some people liked it, some people didn't like it, but really it's just me sort of making fun of Ryan Seacrest, saying coming up after the break. So I was like, well, we got this coming up next, and I don't know where the finger point came from. Player stuff, or I don't know, some wrestling stuff I watched back in the day. Maybe Hulk Hogan with the big finger. I don't know that the finger point. I don't know. I started doing it. I don't know if I was trying to turn off the camera one day when I said next, and I tried to turn off the camera before I said next, so that's where it came from. I don't know where the finger point came from, but the coming up next thing is definitely me poking a little jab at Ryan Seacrest there. So we will leave that poll up for a little bit longer, but it looks like it's going 90% in favor right now. So if you hate next, go ahead and get your vote in because it's trending toward to keep it. And just further inside on the next thing, a lot of my friends, every time I walk in the door of the house, will point their finger at me and scream next. So I get ribbed for it pretty good in real life too, so it's all good. It's all in good fun. If you hate it, I get it because, like I said, I was sort of I was poking fun at Ryan Seacrest for, and we'll get to that after the break. So I get it. It's if it annoys you as well. Sonny V says, I like Next. Not a fan of that version of the national anthem, even if it's just a few notes. So I was at the racetrack. That's another thing. A lot of people think that's Jimi Hendrix. That's not Jimi Hendrix. That's a guy. I was at Ace Speedway, and I was filming, and that is a 14-year-old kid who's playing the national anthem. He played the entire national anthem at Ace Speedway, and I was like, man. And I was back then I was filming races and post-race interviews for Ace Speedway, something I still do most of the time. And that was you have to have rights to use music on YouTube, and I was like, man, that's awesome. Well, I could just do the national anthem because that's I won't get copyright claim for the national anthem. So that was really cool. So that's why I use that, and you don't want your intro to be too long, so I just used a couple notes of it. So that's not actually Jimi Hendrix's national anthem. That's a 14-year-old kid. I need to find his name. I don't know if I still have the original video though, so I'll have to find that kid's name. But it was really cool. So that's where it came from. Let's see. Ty finished better than Wallace once, so I don't know what you were talking about. Okay, yep, I'm gonna stay out of that one. Let's see. Please keep it. Is absolutely perfect. Oh, Camaro with the $2 shout out. He likes Next and the piece. Appreciate it, Camaro 50. No doubt about it. Yeah, I'm definitely keeping the peace either way. That's my favorite outro. Even if that might be corny, I just like saying it. But the Next, I understand some people might not like it. We're at 88% right now. So if you hate the Next or if you like the Next, go ahead and vote on it. This is going to be. I guess I can put it up on the regular page too. But this will be some of the input for it. Let's see. Oval and road course more than once, said Zach H. I think they're talking about the Bristol deal. Kyle and I are in agreement that Alabama is the best band who ever lived. Bumblebee said, yeah, we were talking about that on Twitter. Alabama did a farewell tour, and Alabama did that farewell tour for about Oh, gosh, like 8 years. And I went to that farewell tour every year that they were in town. But yeah, Alabama, really, really, definitely great country music band. Got to say from back in the day now, because I guess they finally did finish the farewell tour. You ever thought about doing live streaming during races? I said, Chris Davis, I have, but I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that because I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't show the race. That would be copyright claimed. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do that one day. But it is on my mind. I would like to do it. Just got to figure out the most positive way to do it, where it adds value to the people watching it, and it's just not me talking like this while you're trying to watch a race like this. I don't know. I got to figure out something. It would be awesome if the rookie Austin Cindric wins the championship because he gets hot. I can see it. He can be the best looking in years. I don't think it will happen, but it would be awesome. Yeah, that would be a crazy story. Like he won Rookie of the Year and the championship in the same year. I don't think he will, but if he did do it, which it is possible because he's in the playoffs. That definitely would be awesome. Like the Marcus King intro to Xfinity and Cup races. I'll have to check that out. I'm not familiar with that intro. You can broadcast a race. I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure about that. I didn't know about the anthem version. That is cool. I always believed the Hendrick version. Yeah, you're right, Sonny V. Jimi Hendrix, when he played the national anthem, I guess not everybody knows that, but Jimi Hendrix, when he played the national anthem, he was mocking. Well, he wasn't mocking. He was protesting the Vietnam War, right? I think because he played it at Woodstock, and he played it, and that's why in the Jimi Hendrix version, you hear him sort of dismantle it because he goes into these weird riffs in the middle of the Star Spangled Banner. Then he brings it back and plays the regular Star Spangled Banner. So yeah, the Jimi Hendrix version was a political protest, either against I don't know. I'm not from the '60s. It was either about the Vietnam War or he was protesting the government or something. But yeah, his version is definitely political for sure. So I know where you're coming from there. Alabama was the first concert I saw in 1980. Tip Jackson. I think I was a little kid. I had a little Alabama T-shirt, so probably I think it was my first as well. But I remember going. But the biggest thing from that concert, I remember we ate at Daryl's after the concert, and I was more excited about Daryl's and the chicken tenders. But I remember, I think it was Alabama. I think it was my first concert. It was either that or Ricky Skaggs. Ricky Skaggs or Alabama was my first concert. But I remember after the Alabama concert, what really got me is the dude that played if you're going to play in Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band. When that guy came out with the fiddle, it was a neon green fiddle. I don't know if it had LEDs in it or if it just glowed in the dark, but when he brought that fiddle out, it was like neon green and he was sawing on that thing and it was really cool. I remember as a little kid that being like the coolest thing ever. Live stream the race like this with some stats overlays, said Charlotte Ander. I'll have to look into it. You should get a job with NBC or Fox as a commentator in the broadcast booth or a pit reporter, Mike George. Yeah, I would have to retire from late model racing to do that, or helping with late models to do that. So maybe in the future, maybe I can talk to some people at NASCAR Digital and see if we can make a live stream or something like that happen. But I will definitely look into it. Imagine if it happened again. Both of them were in the championship on the last lap. The 18 did to the 22. And Xfinity is next to the 12 and door slam him and wins the championship by doing that. Marcus King, who is playing the song for the intro to the races of NBC and USA Network. I don't know, but that guy's pretty good. I like him. He's got a good sound. He's got a very unique voice. I need to find out who that is because I'd like to hear some of his albums. You can do a live react on Twitch easily the way we do it. You just have to be on screen and chat during some of it. And always give your video a name that's not the race name. NASCAR won't pull it that way. Okay, so start a Twitch account. All right, I'll have to look into that. Same rules apply on YouTube. Okay, same on YouTube. I hear NASCAR is adding jump ramps next year. Michael Mack. So they're looking at Robbie Gordon's Truck Series, Michael Mack, if they're adding in jump ramps. His name is David Robideau. Robideau? I hope I said that right. Oh, yeah, I forgot about your racing career, BB. Yeah, not much of a racing career, but his name is Marcus King. Says Mark Barnum. Yep. So I think we're talking. Okay, we're talking about the pre-race intro guy. If Larson doesn't start behaving himself, can I buy that Larson cut out behind you for target practice? No, I got to keep that cut out, but you can get it on Amazon.com. It's Dave's Golf World is who sells them. They've got that Kyle Larson. They've got Austin Dillon and the Cheerios. They've got a bunch of Kevin Harvicks. I got a Chase Elliott before he had a beard. It's like young rookie year, number 24, Chase Elliott. They got several of them. They got some of the older ones too. They got a Tony Stewart. They got a Carl Edwards. They got several. They got them. Like really big like that. And then I got some like little short stand-ups too that I was going to incorporate into the show at some point, but I haven't done it yet. But like they got these guys right here. I think it's Dave's Golf World, and I think they're either in Florida or South Carolina. I can't remember. You got the junior in the 88, Tony Stewart, Brian Newman in the Alltel car. There's a throwback for you. Alltel number 12. There he is. The beardless young Chase Elliott in the 20. Well, he was in the 9, so this was Xfinity, I'm thinking, or a Nationwide Series. So yeah, that's the ones they got. And since he's irritated everybody, another shot at Austin Dillon there. Everybody's favorite driver right now. Oh man, I've never seen one dude get so much hate for winning a race when it's really NASCAR's point system. People are mad about. Pretty hilarious, but it's par for course with Austin Dillon. People just don't like that guy for some reason before the TV show came out and everything. Let's see. Mark is right. Sven Larson, thanks for the pregame. Shame the networks don't do it anymore. Remember Speed TV days? Oh, man, Speed TV was the best, Sven. No doubt about it. Man, they did such a good job. Whenever they changed over to Fox 1, it just went downhill. No doubt. Chris Davis says, sweet. I guess talking about little stand-ups there. It's Marcus King. David is listed as a composer. My bad. Says Bumblebee. So we have figured out the guy's name. His name is Marcus King, and I'm actually going to check that out here in a few minutes when I jump off. Going to end the poll in about 2 minutes. So if you want to vote on the next finger point thing, looking like it's going yes right now. So if you want to vote no that you hate it, go ahead and get that vote in now. Hopefully, if you hate it, you can swing the vote. But it looks like it's going toward keep it. The Bud Light has been cracked open. It's officially race day. Cheers, Bumblebee. I'll raise the Diet Dr. Pepper to you. Chris Davis, I'm glad Austin won. Yeah, I don't have anything against Austin Dillon. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I don't know. I don't understand it. If you study Austin Dillon, he has said, I wouldn't be anywhere without my grandpa. So for him to come out and admit that is extremely based. So when he said that, I was like, well, this guy gets it. He's totally like, he's being as honest and truthful as you can be. So I've sort of been on board with Austin Dillon since then. He's a good, solid racer. Is he a top 5 racer talent-wise? No, but I think he puts in the hard work, and you always see him come and get a top 10 at the end of races if he doesn't wreck out. So, but I get it. A lot of people don't like him because they think he wrecked Eric Almirola for the Daytona 500 win, even though Eric Almirola said he threw a block. So depending on who you pull for, that's how you go on Austin Dillon. A lot of people don't like him because Kevin Harvick said he was a silver spoon, so on and so forth. And now a lot of people don't like him because he's got a TV show and he hasn't won enough races to have a TV show, which that's fine. That's however you want to look at it. But a lot of people don't like him. I just don't happen to have a problem with him. It is what it is. I'm also an RCR fan, so It is what it is. I would even support Kyle Busch driving a Chevrolet, says Chris Davis. Man, I think anybody that gets Kyle Busch, whether it be Ford or Chevrolet, or if he goes back to Toyota, you got to be happy to get Kyle Busch. I've even seen a lot of people in the comments say, if we get Kyle Busch, I'll become a Kyle Busch fan if he drives, and then insert manufacturer there. Watch Austin Cindric bring the upset. So a Moulton 100% on the Austin Cindric upset train. Penske fan, it took me an hour to make my championship predictions. Holy cow. Why is it so hard to pick my championship 4? Bell, Larson, Elliot, Logano. It's hard because you got the 16 best drivers, and it's hard to say I'm leaving this guy off the list. It's always hard. Bumblebee says, cheers, y'all. See you in the previews of that awful reality show can turn people off to Austin Dillon, Sonny V. Yeah, 100%. I get what you're saying there. I'm not a fan of that reality show myself. It really reminds me of that one called Chris Lee Knows Best, and I don't like either one of them. That being said, it is what it is. Austin's a good guy. I like him. I can't stand that show though. Yeah, I think it's just a little too campy, cheesy, corny, whatever you want to call it. It's just a little. I feel like it's 100% the same people who do Chris Lee Knows Best or who write that show. It's definitely cornball, and that's coming from an RCR supporter. Austin, more power to him. Just think if your grandpa was a roofer, yeah, he would be up in the front office, no doubt about it. Mark Wachowski. I think people don't like him because he drives the 3. Oh yeah, that's another good point. Camaro 50. No matter who gets in the 3, they're going to get this. Oh, that's not Dale Earnhardt. So, and that's there will never be another Dale Earnhardt. I'm not saying at all that he's even close to Dale Earnhardt. He's far away talent wise from Dale Earnhardt. Most people are. But that being said, I'm glad that the 3 is still on the track because it's just good to see the 3 on the track. It's good to see the 43 on the track for Richard Petty because you still keep those memories and you keep those conversations going on about those drivers and those numbers. And so the other thing I have to say about it is you don't hear as many conversations about Davey Allison and other people and Alan Kowicki because those numbers in that stylized version that they had them are not on the track anymore. And so I would like to see some of those people who are like never run that number again sort of get off of that and at least run that number every so often so you can at least have those memories and bring a newer generation up to speed about those drivers and how great they were and why that number is special, even though you might not like the driver in that car. Same thing with the Wood Brothers 21. The Wood Brothers 21 has had a ton of great people in it. That number is special, and you can always have a conversation about why that 21 is special. So that's why I think you should run the 28 and the 7. Well, I know Corey LaJoie's running it now, but it's not stylized in the same 7 that Alan Kowicki had. But I would like to see those numbers run, and that's what's so great about the throwback races. Especially when there's some meaning behind the throwback. It's not just a throwback that fits what a corporate sponsor. So that's sort of where I stand on that. Chris Davis is in agreement. I'd rather watch BB run the track than that show. Yeah, me running the track would be probably as long as that show. I'm not in the greatest of physical fitness shape right now. But I'll work on it in the off season. Probably, maybe, possibly. I might. Team Penske fan. People always trash talk about Austin. I feel like he's a very good consistent driver. I think Austin Dillon is that dude that shows exactly how fast your team is. Yeah, he's gonna, and that's probably the best way to say it, Team Penske fan. If he's got a 10th place car, he's gonna finish 10th place. Whereas you take another unique or special talent, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. Yes wins with 85%. Whereas you could get like another unique talent who could get you maybe 2 or 3 extra spots out of that car, like a Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain. I feel like they get extra positions. Even Eric Jones. Eric Jones has consistently finished 8 positions in front of Ty Dillon in the same equipment. So if you get a unique talent, Tyler Reddick consistently finishes 4 or 5 spots in front of Austin Dillon when he finishes the race. When you get a unique talent, they'll take that car to another level. to me, Austin Dillon is very similar to late stages of his career, Ryan Newman, where Ryan Newman was just super consistent. He reminds me a whole lot of Eric Almirola, where they're going to get exactly out of the car what the car has in it, and they're going to win some races here and there. So Austin Dillon, to me, is in that vein. And I think Bubba Wallace is getting there, too. I think Bubba Wallace is going to get you exactly what he can get you out of that car. And Bubba Wallace has a few tracks he's good at, just like these drivers do, like New Hampshire for Almirola. You look at Darlington and Michigan for Austin Dillon, and for Bubba Wallace, Martinsville, and the super speedways. The super speedways for all those guys, too. Austin Dillon, Eric Almirola, all those guys are good at super speedways too. So super speedways, and they have tracks here and there that they're very good at. Let's see, Dale Jr. Where would he be if not for? You can always go through that and do that. And like I've said in the past, it's all Zach H said Austin Kardashian and Bubba Smalley only way to win. Well, it is what it is. They definitely have their fans, and they have have the people who are not fans. Dale Jr., where would he be if not for his dad? Yeah, and so to Mark Wachowski's point, you can always say that, and it's always interesting to me what drivers that come from a lineage get pulled for and are beloved, and what drivers come from a lineage and they're just not beloved. That's just it's super interesting that we'll take Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon. They both come from race car families, race car backgrounds, both very famous. And I'm doing this because of Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt, right? Dale Earnhardt's car owner. That's where Austin Dillon comes from, and then Bill Elliott's son. It just two polar differences. Austin Dillon does not get pulled for. Chase Elliott, most popular driver. Now, some of it is definitely personality, but definitely some of it is just one is looked at as silver spoon. One is looked at as Bill Elliott's son who worked his way up. It's the way it goes. And there's no rhyme or reason to it, and it is what it is. Now, I know one comes from a driver, one comes from a car owner. That point has been made too, but, it sort of is what it is. It's just interesting. I don't care one way or the other. It's just interesting that one gets pulled for and one's does not get pulled for. And the number 3 on the side of the car has something to do with that too, as well, for sure. The 3, the 18, the 24, and the 43 are the greatest numbers ever in racing. Just my opinion. I agree with that, Bumblebee. I would also throw in the 21 and the 7 as well. Dale Jr. Couldn't even win in Hendrick equipment. 1 win in 5 years. Jeff and Jimmy, 20 in the same period, says Zach H. Junior always gets compared to his dad, but Junior was his own driver. He's his own person. He's nothing like really his dad, personality-wise or driver-wise or anything like that. Dale Jr. was a very solid race car driver. I would put him above talent-wise Austin Dillon. I wouldn't put him mid-tier, but I would put him above mid-tier. I mean, when you win 26 races in the Cup Series, he's definitely in the Hall of Fame for a reason. But was he Dale Earnhardt Sr.? I mean, absolutely not. So it sort of is what it is. Zach H dropping nuclear truth bombs. LOL, says Sonny V. Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, Dale Jr.'s problem is he's compared to Dale Sr. That's the issue, right? So it sort of is what it is. Kyle Petty's problem is he's compared to Richard Petty. Kyle Petty had, 8 or 9, maybe 10 wins tops. He had a pretty decent Cup career. Unfortunately, he happened to be Richard Petty's son. And he raced way too long because it was sort of a catharsis for him to be out there. It helped him deal with his son passing. So he raced way too long, and you don't remember the good Kyle Petty, but there was a good Kyle Petty. Take away the 45 years. When he was in the 42, he was pretty darn good in the Hot Wheels 44. Austin Cindric stats right now, his talent is huge. I never realized how talented this guy is in Cup wins. 1 top 5, 9 wins, 1 pole, 1 championship, 13 wins, 62 top 5s, 89 top 10s, 8 poles. Yeah, Austin Cindric is definitely a talent. See, too many Austins. 2 is too many. Austin Cindric has Rookie of the Year on lock. Yeah, he's already won Rookie of the Year because he won that one race. That's a video I've made about Cole Custer in the past. I was going to make another one, but I didn't want to make 2 points videos back to back. So I'll save that video, I guess, for another day, but I'll harp on that randomly some other week. That'll be another points rant. That's why I say it's my triannual rant about the points. About 3 times every year, I rant about the points just because it makes me feel better, not because I think any change will happen. But it is what it is. Late 80s to early 90s, Kyle Petty was lit. Yeah, no doubt about it. The mellow yellow car, and I don't know if you guys remember, but back when he ran the Wood Brothers car, he was really good in that too. Adam was a great loss, such a talented young driver. Chris Davis, yeah, I agree. I think Adam was going to be super talented. Of course, everybody says that because he passed, but he really did look like he was going to be a really good race car driver. Just a shame. It stinks the way it went down, but that's the way it went. And it was just unfortunate. But yeah, I'm going to let you guys get to it. It's about 1 o'clock, so I'll let you guys get to whatever you're doing. I'm sure they're going to start some type of pre-race somewhere, but I'm going to call it. I actually have to go help test a race car at Orange County today, so I'm going to go do that, and leave here in about 15 minutes to go do that. So I do have a prior obligation, so I got to hop off a little bit early, but it has been fun. I have enjoyed it. Hope all you guys enjoy the race and enjoy the tailgating and the cold beverages and the snacks and all that goes along with race day. Hope you have a good Sunday. Dale Jr. is a great driver and very personable guy. His legacy will be around forever. As a race car owner, he has really good results. All he needed Dale Sr. to do was open. Good point, Mark Wachowski. He is a great ambassador. Outside of his racing career, he's going to be in the Hall. He's already in the Hall of Fame, but he's going to be in the Hall of Fame for his impact and growing the sport as well. He almost single-handedly brought North Wilkesboro back, him and Marcus Smith. So good on them. And that is going to be the final thought. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for your time. And peace.